How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today I have my deck profile for the deck I took to last week's webcam locals, being Mono Black Skillless Kidku, which is a very fun and very aggressive deck. Now, I did get hit a little bit from when we had the bans to a lot of the black cards, being like the limit to 14 and stuff like that. It did kind of lose a bit of aggression from that, and then just dropped down. The same with the rest, like the color in general, black just dropped down to being one of the um, less good colors of the format. But with a few more bits, because in the last set, in set 19, we got a few little bits of support for it, like free cards for it, and at least two of them were like really good support to add to it. And it kind of brought the deck back a bit, and with the changing, like with the kind of ban list, bringing some of the top decks down a little bit, and one of the trouts different decks. I managed to get the two cards from the new set, put it together, and like just reconfigure the build and try it out, and I had a lot of fun. Did quite well with it, as you'll see if you checked out the video from Monday, where I put my upload stream, where you can see the games of it. And this was the list I took. I didn't have all the cards for it though, because you'll see from the Z deck, I didn't have some of the cards from the Dash Pack, because even though they were available from the 1st of January, the EU has not yet gotten. I think even by the time this comes out, the dash packs have not been fully released in EU. Like some places might have them, because some places do get them earlier than others, but majority of the EU do not have the dash packs. And with this deck, it is very fun because it is a very aggressive deck. I do like that about it. And one of the nice things, it can awaken at 6 life, awaken at high life while putting pressure on. And even if you're trying to manage this board, you're still leaving them at high life to still be harder to kill, and they can just set up a board for free, because there's barely anything that costs more than 1 energy. There's only one card really that costs 2. Everything else just costs 1 energy or is free. So you're paying very cheap cards and putting a lot of pressure. You can get in so many attacks every turn, depending as long as you sequence correctly, and it's a lot of fun too. So we get into the list, but before I do get in the list, feel free to like the video if you do enjoy it and do like this kind of content and like a new look of some of the things I've been doing for this year. And also comment down below if you have any questions, anything I haven't covered about the deck, and any questions you still have. Comment down below with any suggestions you have. I'll be more than happy to look at them, answer them, and listen, because I do take feedback from people, because I don't think of everything, and it's nice to see it from different perspectives from other people. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop. Even if you hit the notification bell, you get alerts to them. There's know when they drop, which is fairly regularly throughout the week, 3 times a week. And also helps me get to go on 1,000 subs, which help me be Dragon Ball Man, which is all detailed in my giveaway video, which is still ongoing. If you want to check that out. But without further ado, let's get in the video and check out the deck. So, Kidku. It's a deck that came back out in set 6. It was the first proper skillless deck, because it focuses around having skillless cards with the 4-star ball and itself, and it's still a very good leader to this day. Like there's more, like as we keep going, we still get skillless cards, and there are we still get bits of skillless support. Like even some of the latest skillless support we got was in, I think it was the draft box 6. We got some support for all different colors, and like it's only been, it was not long ago, I think in the like in Unison Warrior series, we started getting the way to play it like a fully black decks. We've had even just before the Unison Warrior series, we had decks that are just mono black, and over time, making that possible, we had like a way to make it a mono black skillless deck, which was quite fun. So you'd have to worry about different colors and have to worry about charging colors instead of that. And as more sets go on, more cards we get, it just like things just get stronger and things get power creeps, things get stronger, make it more consistent. And this is a very fun and strong deck. And the leader stays quite powerful even to this day, because it does have a permanent where if there's a skillless battle card in your drop area, you can activate this card's awaken skill when you're less than 6 or less. So you can stay in theme with most of the decks in the format at the moment, which awaken a higher life, or awaken early and awaken a higher life. So that's quite well this. And it has one of those benefits, like some just don't have in the format. Like some of the top ones do, and some of the ones that struggle don't, because that is being able to gain advantage without having to attack, having the necessity of needing to attack. And that's because the leaders got an activate main on the front side, which once per turn, you can choose one 4-star ball in your hand and reveal it. So you just show that you got a 4-star ball in your hand, and then that allows you to draw one card and give your leader 5k power for the turn. So it's quite nice. So you can, even if you're unawakened, your opponent's awakened, that still allows you to draw cards and also put pressure on your opponent's awakened leader, because most of them are 15, even if you're not awakened, which is quite nice. And awaken is quite simple. It's quite the mid-range one. Just when you let it fall or less, you may draw one card, untap an energy, flip over your leader. Remember, if you've got a skillless card in your battle area, you can awaken at 6 life instead, so you can awaken at a little bit higher life. Like 6 isn't amazing, but there are cards in the Z deck and stuff that can help you get down to 5, that allow you token negates to get you down to 4, so you can have your super combos live. So the awakening at 6 life is quite decent. That just means that your super combos aren't live, which isn't much of a problem because given the pressure you can put on so early in this deck. And then when you do flip over, you then become Bonds of Friendships on Goku, so you're now 15k. And you still have an activate main away to gain advantage and a brand new auto that helps you get even more pressure out of your skillless cards. So the activate main now has changed from still having the same cost, so you choose one 4-star ball from your hand and reveal it. So that's a bit the same, but the rest of it is different in that you now draw 2 cards, then choose a card from your hand to place it in your drop area. So putting a card in your drop area, you're still looking through 2 cards in your deck, so you're still going through your deck quite quickly. But now you're able to put cards in your drop, and sometimes that's great for if you have cards that want to trigger in your drop, or if you want to put more cards in there for like things like Overwhelm. So if you need an extra card in there, this is the way to do it without having to attack and combo. And you can kind of mitigate this because, as we've seen a bit, there's a way you can mitigate it by again, like normally this is like a +1 because you're drawing 2 cards and discarding card, but there's a way you can get that as just a pure +2 with a certain combination, which we'll see. And the auto you now gain is also once per turn, and it's when you combo with a skillless card, that card gains 5k combo power for the duration of the turn. So essentially what it means is the first skillless card you combo during either player's turn gains a 5k combo power. So if you combo with a 5k combo skillless card, that becomes a 10k combo for free. So that's a free 10k combo, which is not a lot of decks have. So it gives you extra combo defensively or offensively, which is very, very nice. And that is it for leader. So a very simple leader. The benefit not needing to attack just to get a draw is quite nice. So if you like so it means like unlike some leaders, when you go to first, most of them they need to attack to draw a card. So if you're going first, you can't attack the first turn, so you're not gaining that draw. But with this leader, you're still getting that advantage because you just activate the main, reveal the 4-star ball, get a draw, and you didn't need to attack, but you still gain advantage. That's one little benefit. And speaking of the 4-star, so as you see, this leader heavily revolves around needing the 4-star ball to gain advantage and do stuff with the leader. And as a result of that, we want to try and make sure we got a good amount of consistency to actually get this as well. So we want to make sure we can easily and guarantee that we're going to get this 4-star ball in our hand. And as a result, we play a fair few cards to make sure this happens. And thanks to the new set as well, we get an extra way to make sure. Because normally, I would normally play 5 4-star ball to make sure, because with the thing with 4-star ball, it has the Dragon Ball tag, the Dragon Ball keyword, which means it's a deck building keyword, which allows you to have up to 7 cards of a copy. Normally, you can only have 4 of a card, up to 4 of a card, and then if it's got ultimate, you can only have 1 copy of that 1 card with ultimate. But Dragon Ball allows you to have 7 copies of a card with Dragon Ball. So we play 5 copies, so we can get it because it's still as at least a 5k power boost during battle. And to make sure we can try and find it, we have the 4 copies of Son Goku Adventure Begins that came out in the same set to search the ball, because this allows you to search the ball with the first anime main, which we'll see in a bit, and the other one the gain cards out, but we only really use it in this deck at the moment now for the first auto. And the one good benefit that the new set had is it gives an extra way to search for the ball to make sure, like, even more consistency while keeping with the color as well, and that is Bulma First Ally as another way to search the ball. So we'll start off with the 4-star ball. So this is the card that your leader needs, and essentially what it is just something to reveal your lead, and then use as a power boost if needed to push through increase its power to push through damage. And it gets more of a benefit on a skillless card than its normal card, and that is because it reads activate battle, choose up to one of your battle cards or leader cards. It gains 5k power for the duration of the battle, and if it's a skillless battle card that you're choosing, it gets an additional 5k power for the duration of battle. So it means any battle card or leader card you choose on it, it gains 5k power for the turn, so for 5k to its actual power, not onto a combo. But if that card is a skillless, it gains 10k instead, so it gets 5k plus the additional 5k for being a skillless, meaning you can give any skillless card extra 10k power for free because it's a zero cost extra card. So that is fantastic, especially on our skillless cards are very cheap to put out and put a lot of pressure on, which we'll see in a bit. And then for Son Goku The Adventure Begins, I am only going to go over his first activate main because that's the only one we ever use. We never use the other one because it's not worth the cost for the activate main on the second activate main to bring out the skillless in this deck, because the skillless costs less than the cost of this card and it's a bit pointless. And there's other cards that do the same thing for less or the same at cost, but do it a lot easier and a lot better. So the activate main that's relevant on this card is the first one, which is once per turn you can choose up to one 4-star ball from your deck or drop area, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck if you look through it. So essentially, you play this turn. You want to play this turn 1. Normally, if you see both in your hand, 4-star ball and this Goku, you normally want to keep the Goku and put back the 4-star ball, so you can kind of like get more advantage out of that. Because you're going to play this turn 1, tap that 1 energy you have, use it to find the ball, and then use your leader's effect to reveal the ball you just added and draw a card. And then every turn, if you use the 4-star ball, you can grab it back, or if you haven't, you just get another one just to like deck thin and allow you to draw into things quicker and easier. And then we have Bulma First Ally. So this is another way to search the ball because it's got an auto, where if your leader is black as the requirement, when this card is played, add up to one Dragon Ball card from your deck to your hand, and then place up to one skillless battle card with energy cost of 1 from your deck to your drop, then shuffle your deck. So that's really good. It can't do it every turn, so it's not like the Goku where it can keep adding a card every turn. But at least it sets you up the first. If you get this turn 1, you don't have the Goku Adventure Begins, or you haven't drawn a 4-star ball out of these like 12 cards you have to find the ball. Then at least what this does is search for you that one 4-star ball you need at least to have in your hand, and then sets a skills from your drop. So when you do get 6 energy, you're guaranteed to awaken, and you're all set up ready to do that. And it's got other benefits. So it's not just a one-trick pony. It does have a benefit to stay on the board if you want to. And that is for his activate main, which is limit 1, where you get to choose up to one of your blacks Son Goku childhood cards, and it gets 5k power for the turn. And remember, just cards, just childhood cards. So that means you can choose your leader as well. So giving your leader extra 5k power per every turn is quite nice as well. And at the very least, it's something you can charge if you don't need it, or combo to get Z energy. This is something the deck can really do easily. And to go with this, we have our skillless cards, because if it's a skillless deck, it needs skillless cards. And ones we got is we're going for the Zeno package. We've got the Son Goku Zeno, skillless 1-drop, and the Vegeta skillless Zeno 1-drop. So these are just simply 1 cost 10k skillless, like this just how 1 cost skillless are. Just 1 cost is just more the characters. We've got Son Goku Zeno and Vegeta Zeno for the Zeno package. And we play 4 each of copies because these are just really nice. They're just black skillless, cheap ones, effective as well. And we play these 1 cost because we can switch them out through a few different ways that are quite cost effective to add more aggressive pressure. And the first one is for our Unison, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. Saiyan Scions. So if you haven't seen this card, it is one of the anniversary box, I think it's the anniversary box Unisons, and it's built for 1 cost Unison, 1 cost skilllesses, because there's a no specified cost, black Unison with 10k power, and it's 3 marker skills, all to do with skillless more or less. So the first +1 is what you don't really use that often. You mainly use the -1, but sometimes you might use the +1 if you've got a big board. And it is an activate main. Choose this card and all of your skillless battle cards and get 5k power for the turn. So if you have 2 of these in your hand, you can play 1, swing with it, then use the -1 to bring out 2 skills, which will go over in a sec, and then play another one that then boost them all by 5k. So that's quite good for 2 energy. Get 4 attacks and for decent power as well. But it's mainly the -1 you're normally always going to use. So normally you're going to attack with this before you use the -1, so at least put some pressure. Even if it's on your opponent's on an unawakened leader, it's only give you 10 to 10, so that's fine. The other combo out will take the damage. And if they are a little bit higher, like 15k awakened, you just put an extra 5k onto it. They either combo out, take the damage, then you sack it off to get 2 skillless, because it's a -1, activate main. Play up to 2 skillless battle cards with energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop area, and shuffle your deck if you look through it. So essentially from your deck, straight from your deck or from the drop, you get those skilllesses. So it's also, by getting it for your deck, you help thin your deck a little bit further. And if the need ever arises, which it never really does, you have the -2, which is activate main. Shuffle 2 skillless battle cards from your drop area into your deck, and then draw 2 cards. So that can come in handy. Just so far, I've never found it to be that useful. And the other card that allows you to make full use is probably it's better than the Suns because of what it is and what it does, and also helps you get down to what you need to get as well. Especially turn 2, after if you've taken 1 damage, can help you awaken turn 2 to put a lot of pressure on. And that is the Son Goku and Android 8 Bonds of Battle. So this is never anniversary box card, and this is specifically made for this deck, just same with the Bulma. And it's a 2 cost 15k. So this is the most expensive card in the deck because it's the only one that you're going to pay 2 energy for. Everything else is going to be for 1 energy or for free. And it's got a nice little permanent where this card and skills battle cards in your battle area can be used in the combo and rest mode, and that's what makes this so oppressive, is that you're able to swing with these skills. If you play out 2 skills from this card, which we'll see from the auto, you can then swing with your skilllesses, and even though they're in rest mode, so they've just attacked, put some pressure on, try to push through some damage, but now they're also still combo power even though they've attacked, which is what makes it so good. And the way you bring them out is with this auto, is if your leader is a black Son Goku chartered card, which it is. When this card is played, you add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So then, this is how you help you awaken if you get to turn 2 and your opponent's attacked you at least once. You can use this to get on a 6, bring out skillless cards, and then at least use 1 to go in your drop ready to awaken. Because when this card is played, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. When you then play up to 2 skillless battle cards with 10k power from your deck or drop, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So essentially, it's after taking 1 damage, you play this out. You take a life, take 2 skilllesses down so you get down to 6, now 2 skillless in, swing with 1 to push through at least 10 or combo with it if you need to combo, and then swing with the other one, combo off the first one you swung with. So like if you swung with the Vegeta first, you then swing with the Goku, combo with the Vegeta, go to 15, that then you can put the Vegeta in your drop then instead of your Z energy, and then you have the skillless in your drop, you're at 6 life, you can awaken then to get that 1 extra energy, 1 draw, and push for more pressure as well. And that's why we play a 4 copies of this, because once you've comboed the skillless off as well, you can still have this Android 18 after its attack to combo off for extra combo power and never swing. So you still basically essentially get 3 cards for 2 energy to help yourself awaken, and as well as those being free attacks, they're also like 15k combo power across ever attacks with 1 attack, which is fantastic. And so, as I said, we've got the we're playing the Zeno cards because we want the Zeno package, and it just synergizes so well with it. And the other kind of card we have for that's a Zeno, that's not the Gogeta Zeno stuff, is a super combo, being Vegeta, SS Vegeta, the Prince right back. So this is the best one. This is the best, like one of those set of super combos is the best ones because they allow you to see more through your deck and filter through. And you're not always using your super combos that often because you're normally at high life, but if you then manage to put yourself down or force down to 4 life, you then super combos alive. So the more they try to pressure you, the more they allow you to have more combo power in your super combos. And this is just fantastic because you just have to be at 4 less life, have all your energy be black, which your energy will be black. We don't play any other cards that aren't black in this deck, and it allows you to gain 10k power, put a card back to draw 2 as well, so the best level super combos. Like any deck is normally running these kinds of super combos from set 11, unless you're green, you're normally running Paragus super combo maybe instead, and any other, if your deck uses a specific super combo because of this interaction with your the deck, then you might be using, but normally you're going to be using this style super combos for any deck. That's why we keep 4 of them. And the Gogeta Zeno package is just a 114 we can still use because it's that powerful, it's limited, so we still use it because it's just still a strong card even at 1. It's not searchable, it's not as consistent now because it's at 1, but it's still a powerful card if you draw into it. It's just that great. And then we play the Ever Gogeta just to make use of it because we will overwhelm in this, and normally what you do at the common element skillless is bringing out the Android 8 and Goku card, the 2-drop. Combo off, put in the drop, overwhelm, and then have them then put back, to then overwhelm more, and also still have them back then in your drop to play off by the silence or the 2-drop as well. And what we do is we play the Gogeta Fearless Fusion because there's a never card we can play for 1. That can either serve as a blocker to be defensively, or just to put back your Goku to the Vegeta so you can still have the skills available and overall more, as I just said. And also it's our barrier removal as well, so it's some good barrier removal because black lacks that, but this is a good lot of it because it's not often you're going to need barrier removal for things that are like huge. Normally 3 or less is a decent range for barrier removal to deal with some of the more annoying stuff. And that's what this does, because it's got blocker, and also just like Gogeta's got a Union Fusion where you just need your leader to be a black Zen only card, which ours is, because it's just Goku. And you use a Goku Zeno and a Vegeta Zeno. And then with the same permanent, where you can send them from your, you can use the fusion materials to send them from your warp to your drop instead of using them from your hand. And its auto is when it's played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost of 4 or less, ignoring barrier set to its warp. So it doesn't have to hit just barrier cards, it can just hit anything, but if it has barrier, it ignores it, and it hits 4 or less, which is just perfect. Just especially if your opponent puts down slug and you're like, you can't search for starable, drop this, remove it. Then you have a 16k attacker, which is that kind of annoying part where trying to run over it, it's a lot easier to defend with, and it can be a blocker if at the very least as well. And yeah, that's the main Go Cheaters as well. We do have one in the side deck, which is more for certain matchups, but I feel like with the God Sealing ban, it could come into the main if you go on the longer game, but normally you want to try and be as aggressive as possible, finish the earliest, close out quickly. And then we have some new overrun cards. We've got 4 copies of Trunks Time Regulator. It's just easy, cheap overrun that helps us filter through the deck quickly. And then 2 copies of SS Son Goku Beyond All Limits. So the Trunks, this one's a nice one because it's just overrun free, so easy free cards in your drop. That means 1 Goku Xenos, 1 Skillless Goku, 1 Skillless Vegeta, and any other card you potentially dumped off your leader. And then you get the play overrun to play this out, so you've got then put the 2 Skillless in your warp ready for one of your Gogetas to use for Union Fusion. And then this allows you to filter for your deck a little bit more, because when it's played using overrun, you draw 2 cards and choose 1 card in your hand that sets to warp. And yeah, you normally have to send a card that's dead in your hand, like a Unison or another Skillless. You've got more in there just in case you want to play out more both a Thwarting and a Fearless Fusion on one turn. And this just allows you to give you cheap overwhelm that allows you to filter for your deck a bit more, draw, and also be a 15k attacker, which is decent, which is quite solid. And then we've got the SS4 Son Goku Beyond All Limits. This is a nice one because sometimes you might have your Gogetas, Fearless Fusion or Thwarting warp to remove from game, or you might just have another copy of itself warped. You might want it back, and you can kind of have a little loop with this because what is also is because it's Overwhelm 6 and with 30k base power is also as if your leader card is black. When this card is used, played using Overwhelm, you get to add 1 black battle card with entry costs 3 and 7 from your warp to your hand. So that means anything that's a cost between 3 and 7 in your warp you can add to your hand, which if you're looking at this now, the page, there's barely any targets. It's normally the Trunks itself or the Gogeta targets. But if you've got a copy of itself in there, you essentially do a little loop where you overwhelm into this, overwhelming 6, bring this out, grab the other copy, and now when this goes warp at the end of turn, next turn if you can fill up your drop again quite easily with 6 again, you can overwhelm the copy of it you grab back to hand again next turn, grab the other copy and just keep doing that loop to give yourself a free 30k swing every turn that just keeps grabbing you a card back to keep doing it over and over again, or something useful. So that's quite nice. But also having the ability to grab back Thwarting if you do lose it to your warp is quite decent as well. That's why I want 2 of them in there, just for a big strong overwhelm and utility to grab that back as well. And it's even a Goku name as well for the Union Fusion. Well, more for the one in the side deck than it is for the Union Fusion here. And then, as I said, there are 3 cards in the set 19 that gave this deck support, but we're only using 2 of them because one of them isn't that great. And the other one that we are using that is decent is the Android 8 Kind-Hearted Friend. So this is a nice one in that it's a 3-drop 20k, unique barrier blocker, so it's got a little bit of barrier, so that's a nice little potential, and it's a blocker if you do need to defend yourself for any given situation. And it has a nice permanent where when a black Son Goku childhood card with an entry cost of 2 or more will be removed from your battler by an opponent's skill, you can place this card in its own warp drop instead. And so this normally only protects the Android Son Goku and Android 8 bonds of battle, which is nice because that card is very useful in allowing you to combo off your Skillless in itself in rest mode. So if you spam the board with low Skillless, you want to use them, still use them while in rest mode in combo, and this allows you to protect that card by using him instead to go to the drop. And you can bring out for cheap as well, because you can bring out for 1 with the outfit main, which is limit 1, so you can only bring out 1 a turn. And that is for 1 energy if your leader is a black Son Goku childhood card, and there are a total of 2 more skills battle cards either in play or in your battle area. In play in your battle area or in your drop. You get a player's card from your hand, so you just get a player's out for 1. So once again, everything's cheap. The only more expensive thing is the Bonds of Battle card, but that gives you so much value for that 2 energy. It's worth it, and everything else is either 1 or 3. And this will just allow you to bring for 1 energy a 20k barrier guy to push through damage or use it as a good blocker that might survive your opponent's next turn to actually defend it and make use of it. So it's just extra battle cards. It's quite cheap. It puts pressure. And being barrier means it's harder to interact with. So if you want to finish off and you've already had your leader swing negated, you can swing with this, and it's got a bit more protection than most other battle cards. It be stopped by generic removal unless it goes for barrier. And that brings on to the last two. Well, the last three cards, the last two battle cards as well. So we got off with our secret rare being Pan Type Patrol Maiden. This is just fantastic because where you're going to be spamming out loads of battle cards, going wide with this, you'll get at least 4 on the board, even with your opponent potentially having battle cards on board. And this gets a nice little benefit because not only is it able to be used defensively if you have 3 more energy with counter attack, but you can also use it just play it for free offensively. So all you need to do is get 4 guys on board at least. If your opponent's got some, it's less because of its permanent where for each battle card in play, that's either a player's board, you reduce the cost of this card in your hand by 2. So once again, it's 8 costs, 4 on board, turns up to 2 is 8, so 4 battle cards allows you to play this for free, and it just becomes a 40k beat stick. Or you can use it defensively as counter attack, where if you have 3 or more energy, you get to play this card, and your opponent can't attack battle cards for the turn, and then you can activate his counter skill, but it doesn't matter because once you play it, and it gets removed from the battle area, it's removed from the game because of the new ultimate change that we had not too long ago. And if you do want to still swing out your opponent's board after swinging with it, you can use the activate main to pay 1, remove this card from the game, and choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and gain control of it. Normally, it's not going to be useful. It's more used as a free aggressive secret rare, just another free play. That's big body, 40k that you could use to finish off, or use it as defensively if ever needed. And that leaves the last battle card being Quetzalcoatl, Mechanical Courage. So with this deck, it's very aggressive, and in the best of 3, people might try to put in some floodgates to try and hold off your swings, because there's still quite a few floodgates in the game. And once again, as I said, you're not going to have the easiest time getting on the forward to have Super Kamehameha live for free to stop them. And because of that, we have Quetzalcoatl. So if people do want to try and floodgate, they're going to lose their hand while they're getting pressured. And we're still gaining a load of cards as well because we've got so many cards to just gain advantage and draw. And that's through Quetzalcoatl. And it's very easy to get him a drop as well because once you awaken, remember, when you awaken, your draw effect now becomes reveal 4-star ball to draw 2 and discard 1. So that discard can always be a Quetzalcoatl. Set it straight up in the drop whenever you need to then use the effect, pay 1, root from the game. From your drop, and then potentially filter cards back and make it so if your opponent wants to use any of those floodgates that are battle cards, they're going to be losing 2 cards per hand each time they do it. So it means while you're trying to pressure them, they're trying to stop you, you're at least punished for trying. So punishing people to try and defend themselves is like a lot of how Dragon Ball features since this guy came out. And that is it for the battle cards. So I bet you can only guess what the last card's going to be in this deck, and that is 3 copies of Support the Dark Empire. Because even though we're trying to be a very aggressive deck, you will need to try and avoid being killed when your opponent tries to clap you back, tries to retaliate after you fail to kill them. And while you can have quite a bit of combo power and still draw quite a few cards, sometimes that isn't enough. So you're going to need cards to help you defend yourself. And Support the Dark Empire is something that Black finally got back in set 16. To be online with the other colours by having a token negate, because before that every colour had a token negate like this, where it's a card you can use a negate attack, play a token that has blocker, so you can potentially stop 2 attacks with 1 card, and also be played for free by taking a life instead of paying this energy cost if you're at 5 or less life after the permanent. And the good thing about this card is, like the red and the green one, while its token is quite weak, being a 5k, it is at least a token that has combo power as well. So if you don't use it to attack, you can always use the combo power at the very least. So because once the turn's over, that's been played, and it goes back to your turn, it's then lost its blocker skills because again it gains blocker for that skill. And like the yellow and blue one, which are just 10ks that then can't be comboed. Sometimes 10k is not enough to attack with, and without blocker they're kind of useless, whereas this one can be at least used as combo power to go on a bigger swing to help push through damage or per game. And that is the list. That is the update from my last one, because I know I didn't have one before because I played it at the Cardiff Game Fest event at the beginning of last year, and that was fun. Well, fun to play the deck, but not fun for that event because of how it went. let's not get started on that. But that is the list. But I'll also go over the side and the Z deck as well, because I do have those. If hopefully you can see them there. So with the Z deck, Black didn't have much, but then with the dash pack actually did get some cards, especially for this package as well. It's quite nice. So we've got the 2 copies of SB Vegeta Surmounting the Impossible, because you want to try and get your life down. Because as I said, you can awaken at 6 life. If your opponent doesn't force you to awaken by damaging you a lot. So you have this to put yourself down to 5, have your token negates live, or even then if the everyone goes, or you can still use it as attack, because being a 5k with this deck is fine, because you can just swing with this, combo 1 skillless, being the first skillless, and it goes to 15k because the skillless again an extra 5k combo power, and push through. So even though this is a 5k, it's still some damage you can push through as well, so it's still a useful card in that way, unlike most other decks. And we also have 1 copy of Demon God Demigra, Begrudging Ally, because it's just going to be a handy one if you overwhelm. Just get that extra removal and extra bit of draw. If you don't, if like say you're having a bad time and not drawing any as much useful stuff with the skillless. So we got the 1 copy now. I was having to play 3 copies of Vegeta and 4 copies of Demigra because I didn't have these two cards for the locals, but this is what I would have had, so it's best to go over what I would have had. And then we've got the 2 new ones. So first one we'll start off with Majin Buu. We're going to ignore the first one. It's at least a 1-cost blocker. So it's a 1-cost 5k with 1 Z energy blocker, so you can use it defensively if you need. But it's more deactivate main the second one, which is limit 1. If your leader card is black and you have 3 more energy, which we can get to, and you place 1 of your Z energy drops, it makes use of comboing, like swinging a lot, comboing a lot to charge your Z energy quickly. You get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card, so it absorbs 1 of your opponent's battle cards. And this card gains 20k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it becomes a 25k attacker and a 25k base on your opponent's turn as well. So a 25k attacker, and it's also absorbing 1 of your opponent's battle cards. That can even be a blocker as well, and it's 25k on your opponent's turn, make it harder for them to attack over, which is fantastic. And if it's still for another turn, you can do it again. And even if you don't grab something underneath, grab something to put underneath, you still get a 20k as well. This is fantastic for just, it means you can have in the deck like we have, not much in terms of removal because it's in our side deck, in our Z deck, which is accessible all the time, which everything else you have to draw into it. The other card we have is Pan Search for Another World. It's got the same kind of cost as Buu. It's a 1-cost 15k. Well, it's a 1-cost 15k, so still 1-cost 15k, still put some pressure, and it's 2 in a Z energy. But then again, it's, as I say, it's the same cost as Buu, because while Buu only costs 1 Z energy to bring out, it still needs 1 Z energy to be sent from your Z energy to your drop for its activate main. So this kind of makes the same cost. And once again, we're going to ignore the first ability because the auto doesn't work with this lead. It works only with Supreme Card time lead. But it's the ever activate main we want, which is activate main, bond free, limit 1 bond free, which needs cards with Zeno in its character name, which, as you remember, we're playing the Zeno skillless cards. So as long as we have 1 Zeno Goku, 1 of Vegeta skillless in our battle area, that fulfills the bond. And you get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and set to Zeno's warp. So once again, removal, that's instantly accessible to us and very easy to pull off because you can just bring us out for 1, bring out 2 of the skillless from the Scions, so you have them, Pan herself, Goku Zeno, and Vegeta Zeno to have your 3 Zeno for the bond free, and then just use this effect, warp 1 of the battle cards, and then swing with 15k and 2 10ks, push them for damage. It's very, very good. And that's why we play 2 copies of each because they're both very useful utility cards, and they make a good use of the synergy because Demogorgon needs a lot. But these you can put a little bit. Cause sometimes you want to put stuff in. You won't want to put charge the energy to have cards in drop for overwhelm. But sometimes you won't need it for overwhelm. You want to keep the overwhelm to a minimum. So put the cards in C energy, and these allow you to make good use of them as well. So a very good upgrade to the Z deck for black, especially for this deck as well. And for the side deck, we've got Dark Power Black Masen, just once again for decks that free play out stuff for cheap. Well, free play it stuff out, not using keyword skills, punish them for that. We're also having Self Awakening and Pressure as well. Gohan Changing History, to punish blue decks that want to get the full use of D magic. So like blue hate, like I hate blue decks. Mega Burr for certain cards you don't want coming out for a turn. Say like if you're going against SS4 or Gogeta, because that's still a deck, even though it got hurt, it's been hit a bit. It's still a deck, it's still strong. To stop it from the 8-drop from coming down to try and survive another turn. Jiren for if we ever get stalled out and go against ramp decks or against decks that can hold off. Well, yeah, ramp decks specifically that can hold off till Silver Energy drop turn inside. I'll punish that just in case, but it's not often it's going to happen, but it can happen. Bardock the Tenacious is the overrealm swap. You can take out these two Gokus to put in, or yeah, these two Gokus will Quartz card, and normally the flex spots. To put in Bardock Tenacious to allow you to have an overrealm, but also have it give your opponent like a Nimbus effect to limit how many battle cards swings they can have next turn to 1 to make it so you can survive their turn a little bit easier. And applying 25k pressure, which is not too bad. It does cost 1 black energy, that's why it's side decked, not main decked, but still it's quite decent, and you can't play another one the turn after you've played one as well. Then we have the SS4 Gogeta 14 Empire. This guy got a massive boost in the fact that God Seeding got banned, because of the fact that before, if you paid 4 energy, play us out and they God Seeding, you just lost this guy because he got no deflect, so you paid 4 energy for nothing. But now without God Seeding, you can drop this freely, and this is what nice as a help away the finisher, because it's triple attack, 35k, so you're getting free 35k swings out of it, and also as well as that, you get a very strong auto, which is almost per turn. When this card attacks, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and 2 cards on their 2 other battle cards, Norm Barry, send them to as warps, and then in the turn you switch this card to active mode. So you get to play this out, swing, make them lose 2 cards from hand and 2 battle cards from board, ignore barrier, go to warp, and then restand this as a block at the end of the turn after having 3 attacks. And it's got a nice permanent where while this card is in rest mode, it can't be KO'd by opponent skills. So if you're ever playing against a deck that's got like a way to KO something during battle, it can't kill this card while it's in battle because it'd be in rest mode, which is fantastic. And it comes out for 4, because even though it's got an 8 cost, it's got an activate main that requires 4 energy, where you choose 1 Son Goku Zeno card and 1 Vegeta Zeno card in your battle arena drop, and send them to your owner's warps to play this card out. So there's never a way to put them in your warps. You can have them for the Ever Gogeta Zeno cards, the Forting and Fearless Fusion. And as well as that, this doesn't require this isn't for using Union Fusion, so it doesn't require them to have the same power. And if you have one in there and need the everyone in there, remember you can always use your leader's effect to draw 2 and discard 1 when it's on the Awakened side. When you play a couple of these, I might change it to have more than 1 copy in the side. Maybe even put in the main, depending on how the format goes on. This is more like a build I put for locals, but if you want to make it more competitive, I might put this up to 2 and maybe put in the main as well. Maybe take out I don't know, it'd be a tough choice. Maybe taking out the Android 8s, maybe. And then we've got 2 copies of Petrification, just because of very sudden negate, just stop pending autos. Very useful against certain boss cards that it can actually use on there. By ones that can be, remember SS4 Gogeta can't be used on as soon as that 8 drop comes down. And then 2 Super Kamehameha just to help deal with floodgates for free. If you can get yourself down with the side deck, putting in like Dark Power, like I said, you might get yourself down to 4 easier. If you can in a given game, you can use this to stop floodgates without using energy, if you need be. And that is the deck. That is it. So if you looked forward to it and want to try it out, here's the list. The link to it is down in the description below as well. So if you want to grab and try and untap, you can go ahead and do that. Or if you just want to try it out and you've seen the games and been interested in it, go ahead and try it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a fantastic deck, very strong. If you like aggro, it's a very good aggro one, and it should suit you well. Just remember the sequence well. Like just look at your hand, make sure to check what the cheapest and best ways you can do to drop anything given your hands, because like the sequencing changes depending on what you have, and you just need to learn, like slowly get used to it, practice with it, learn it, and it come along as a fantastic aggro deck. So that's been it for me. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.